Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We have to ask the question if the new transgender conversion bill will be the final straw for Humza Yousaf. There are already moves afoot to get Alistair Jack, the Scottish minister, to apply the exemption to this and to pull this act as well as he did for the gender recognition bill. This would cause a lot of consternation within the SNP and the Greens, but ultimately it would be safer for the people of Scotland. The Cass report has thrown the cat truly among the pigeons when it comes to transgenderism. But this will be, will it be the final straw? Will it ramp up pressure on the First Minister? Will it push for the SNP to finally disengage itself from the Greens? It's possible. This could be the one that breaks the Greens, breaks the Butte House Agreement, and breaks Humza Yousaf. I mean, Humza does not have his troubles to seek. This must be clear. But any attempt that he will have now to blame the Greens for having the balmy policies is just not going to cut it. He is the party leader. It is his decision to continue with the Butte House Agreement that maintains this SNP Green coalition, despite many claims from people from within and without the party that it is damaging and wrong and should be abandoned. And thus everything currently damaging the SNP's reputation that stems from that choice is Humza Yousaf's decision. He owns it. It is his baby. He cannot now disengage without any kind of humiliating climb down. And he won't do that. And so the damage will continue because of his own ego, his own narcissism. And that's great news for everyone who's not in the SNP. For the longer they maintain this relationship, of course, the worse it gets for everyone. And we've seen in the last couple of weeks, really, how this hate crime act has damaged everything. He was, of course, the Justice Minister at the time. He was responsible for piling it through. And it's made him an absolute figure of ridicule. All those people complaining, thousands upon thousands of people making complaints, tying up the police. And by strange irony, he is the single most complained about person. It's absolutely delicious to watch this. The warning was in place before it was enacted. People said that this would happen. It would tie up officers on wasteful rubbish that they could otherwise be used for solving real crimes. It would be ridiculed. It would be humiliating. It would be used as a political tool to target people. And it's come to pass, and that's exactly what it is. But this debate, the whole entire debate about hate crimes, of course, will not go away while it's still there. He has to delete it. He has to repeal it. He has to get rid of this law. In doing so, as I say, he'll be humiliated. But even then, that won't be an end to it, because they'll still use that as an object in how to not create laws, how not to implement things, how not to do business of Parliament. He's lost. He's in a lose-lose situation, and that is absolutely the best place to be for everyone who is not an SNP supporter. Now, it will make the SNP Green movement even more of a laughingstock. But what is coming now is going to be even worse. It will sully even more the reputation of Parliament for passing laws, as it's likely that the gender conversion law will also be either refused by Alistair Jack, or if it's brought in, will be ridiculed again by the people of Scotland. Again, another lose-lose situation, because the pressure that Humza Yousaf keeps putting on himself, and he has this wonderful ability to keep doubling down on bad decisions rather than seeking to kind of extricate himself from the deep hole that he digs. It's only going to get worse. Now, the Cass report is the key. The Cass report itself shows the dangers of transgenderizing children and pushing them down a one-way street to industrial scale sterilizations. You shouldn't be pandering. You should be pandering to the children, is basically what the Cass report says, because 97.5% of them aren't transgender. But of course, also, you should not be pandering to hate groups or pressure groups that want to push this. The likes of Stonewall, for example, or Mermaids. These now must be seen as dangerous, anti-child safe organisations. She herself, Cass, is a former president of the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health. She knows whereof she speaks. She is experienced, knowledgeable, qualified, unlike anyone within the SNP. So when she speaks, they should listen. Whether they do or not is another matter. But she has been saying that the children have been let down by a lack of research, remarkably weak evidence, and political pressures brought about by groups such as Stonewall. Politicians are scared. Politicians are too fearful to be labelled as transphobes. And so, rather than be called a name, they'll just let children suffer. It's easier to destroy a child's life than for a politician to be ridiculed, apparently. And now we have this act, the Conversion Therapy Act, and in which case it will be an absolute pig's ear. Humza Yousaf, because he does not accept the Cass findings, and he will not ensure the NHS services in Scotland are no worse, for example, no different from those in England. We will see, like we did with his absurd refusal to accept England's bans on XL bully dogs until he had to, and an exodus from people from England to Scotland, this time seeking transitioning treatment. He won't accept it. He won't allow it, because he cannot back down for his deep, unbridging love of the Greens and their weird policies. And so he's going to push this transitioning law through. There's no way, as a parent, you should be able to tell your child, no, you're not transgender. No, we need to have a discussion. That will now be illegal. It will be illegal to discuss it in a negative manner with your child, even though Cass says how harmful this is. Surely, as First Minister, he must put the safety of children before the unforgiving and unbending idolatry of these transgender activists within his own coalition. Or would he rather, yet again, make Scotland an outlier simply for the sheer sake of it, because he can? He must not only follow Cass, he must show courage. He must say no to the Greens, reject their policy, and say, actually, this transgender therapy law is now dead in the water. Reject it, reject the Greens, and tell them if they want to push this, then they have to do it alone and outside of Parliament. Let him change his gender. Let him become a man, finally. Let him have balls. It will be the first time it ever happens. But not today. He is so weak. He is smooth at the front. He has no spine. He will continue down the line of bringing in a gender therapy conversion ban. And when it is rejected, when it is refused, he'll blame Westminster rather than his own stupid policy. The reality is that Yousaf has lurched violently towards unpopularity, and there is no going back. We've seen from the polls he's so unpopular even within his own party, because he pushes continually weird acts rather than just getting on and doing his day job. Thanks very much for listening, and goodbye.